The final banner before Global's 9-year anniversary. But should you summon? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the First Form Frieza. This is the next Dokkan Fest exclusive to come to Global Dokkan, and the last Dokkan Fest you are before we reach the 9th anniversary. So in this video, we're going to take a look at whether or not you should spend your hard-earned stones on this character. As always, we'll be taking a look at 3 major factors when deciding this. We'll take a look at the unit itself, see how good that unit is, and if he can justify the spending of your stones. Up next, we'll take a look at his banner as it was on JP and determine whether or not the banner is good enough to justify a summon. And then finally, we will take a look at what lies ahead. Any stones we may spend on this banner is obviously stones that we may not be able to use on a future banner. So we'll take a look at what those future banners are. So without further ado, let's go ahead, let's hop on in, let's take a look at what the unit is doing. So AGL First Form Frieza is a planetary destruction space traveling warriors, key 3, HP attack defense 170%, with an additional attack and defense 30% to characters who also belong in Inhuman Deeds and Terrifying Conquerors, right? This setup is basically a Terrifying Conquerors setup, right? With Space Traveling Warriors, Terrifying Conquerors, or Planetary Destruction, Terrifying Conquerors, or Inhuman Deeds. It's all basically the same units, right? It's Coolers, it's Friezas, it's Turles, right? And actually with Planetary Destruction, there's a few Brolys in there as well. So, I mean, it's not a terrible leader skill. It's just, right, if we just like flip open here, like just looking at Planetary Destruction for right now, right? And even Space Traveling Warriors, just to give you an idea here, right? Most of the units we would want to use have sort of aged out a tad bit, right? Like the best options he has for his teams are like Kid Buu, or like if we're looking at Planetary Destruction, like the new Super Easy 8 Kid Buu, we've got Hirudegarn. Vegeta and Nappa still alright in certain scenarios, right? Turles can be okay with his partners as long as he is in a fight against the Goku's family enemy. Golden Frieza, short of fights, still good, but I mean, Cooler is starting to really age out, right? If he doesn't get his max additionals every turn, he can be a big threat to the team. Same goes for the STR Cooler. If you can't let him stack early on, which some of the newer events do allow him to do, right? You can run into some major troubles there. So just kind of throwing that out there, that it is an issue. And then on his other lead, right, the Space Traveling Warriors, again, it's basically the same problem, right? You have his banner unit, Midoriya. You have characters like, this Bojack's actually alright. The King Vegeta, but I mean, he really wants to be around other Vegetas, right? There's some options. It's not to say that the team is terrible, but when we look at what he's doing, you kind of see that you want a specific group of characters, right? He has an entrance animation that activates once only. It gives him 100% attack and defense, and gives him the ability to launch an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming super attack for 5 turns from the entry turn when there are 2 or more Space Traveling Warriors allies on his entry turn. He also has key 3, attack and defense 150%. He gets an additional 150% when attacking. He has an additional 20% defense and chance of performing a critical hit 10% per Terrifying Conqueror ally on the team. And he gets an additional attack 100% and launches an additional super attack starting from the turn in which he performs the 5th attack. Now, if there's a pure Saiyans enemy or low-class warrior enemy, he will launch an additional super attack and gets an additional attack 100% and perform a critical hit 50%. So it's basically auto crits. He does have an active skill that can be activated when there's a low-class warrior enemy, or when there's a pure Saiyans enemy starting from the 3rd turn, or just straight up from the 5th turn battle. So, I mean, again, because of his entrance animation and this little extra bit of defense and critical hit chance that he's got, you want him around other Terrifying Conquerors and Space Traveling Warriors allies. So that, well, not terribly difficult. It basically limits you to this part of his, at least for his rotation, right? It limits you to this part of his category, right? Because, you know, if you start opening it into planetary destruction, then you start getting away from this piece here, which he kind of needs. He doesn't have the greatest defense in the world. It's passable. It'll get him through most fights. But again, you know, barring some major supers, it can lead him into trouble. Now, where this guy really shines is in those additional attacks that allow him to deal some massive amounts of damage. Well, basically having auto crit, right? That's where he shines. That active skill turn is next to, right? It's up there with some of the more powerful active skill turns, right? It's up there next to AGL LR Gohan's. It's up there next to Gogeta's. It's up there next to Broly's, right? Not quite on the same level, but for a TUR, it's on that level. If you kind of get what I'm saying there. So again, I say all this to say he's a great unit, but a lot of the characters you want around them, specifically Terrifying Conquerors, Space Shaolin Warriors, right? Wicked Bloodline characters that would share the links that he needs, right? Big Bad Bosses, Frieza's army, most malevolent, strongest clan in space, thirst for conquest, right? He wants other Friezas and coolers around him to work properly. And again, most of these guys just aren't up to stuff when it comes to some of the newer content. So with that, the unit is good. I don't want to say he's bad, right? Even with just Big Bad Bosses and Fierce Battle, he's going to be putting out some big numbers. It's just great. You really want to see him shine. He doesn't quite have the support he needs just yet. The vision is there, and if they continue to buff it throughout the year, then he will get better. So I would have to say on that note, I would say that's one in the category of summon for the unit. He is a good unit. There can be no denying that. He just needs a little extra help. But of course, right, this unit will not exist alone on his banner, right? He will be here with other with other units, right? So if I can pull up the banner here. Oh, did we not pull up the banner? Okay, well, let's go over here to banners and let's pull that up. Right, so his banner should be right over here, right before Sunday. Here we are. Right, so this is his banner here. This is as it was on JP. We had the return of the Gohan and Piccolo. This was their first return on JP. They should actually not be on this banner for us, actually, now that I think about it, because we still haven't gotten the Tournament of Power androids back for Global. So there is a high likelihood these guys could be swapped out for the Tournament of Power androids. They may not be on the banner. They'll have Fizz Turles, Tech Bardock, AGL Ginyu, and AGL Bardock. AGL Bardock is definitely going to stay on the banner, simply because he is getting an EZA this celebration, and I doubt they toss in an extra EZA banner when they could simply just throw him onto this banner. So more than likely we will see him here. A unit that could get tossed on the banner is this AGL Trunks. We're still not really sure what they're going to do. It says his release is on the same time as the banner, so I don't know if they're just going to add him into the general pool at that time, or if he's going to be featured on the banner. They're not going to give up. They're not going to give up one of the Dokkan Fests, I feel like, or at least not one of the newer ones. Meaning, if they did put him on the banner, it may bump this up to an 8 instead of a 7 featured, and that obviously makes the banner far less valuable, right? Because basically the only good things out of this banner, as of, you know, the 9th anniversary, are probably Gohan and Piccolo. They still have some major use with that revive, right? The Dodoria and the Frieza. Turles can see some use, but I mean, it took him a little bit longer than he needed to get the support to make himself really useful. So, all in all, I would have to say that's a no-go on the banner. It's just Gohan and Piccolo and possibly the Tournament of Power androids or Frieza that is the value here. AGL Ginyu has aged quite a bit. Bardock aged out the second he released, and of course AGL Bardock is an EZA unit. Most of you guys probably have a copy or two of him, so there really isn't much value here other than the brand new units. So I would have to say that is a no-go on the unit, on the banner for the AGL Frieza. So we have one in the category for the unit is good, and we have one in the category of no summon for the banner. So all that leaves is to take a look at what lies ahead. And of course, we don't need to look too far this time, right? Literally the very next banners after this is a Part 2 Yellow Coin LR, which I do not recommend anybody summon on. That's just a straight up no summon. It's a week away from the anniversary when that banner drops. Like, on that grounds alone, that a banner is a no summon. But following that, all right, we will get the 9th anniversary banners, and we already have confirmed that the part one is the AGL Broly and the Gogeta Carnival LR, right? Not that we didn't anticipate that, but we do have official confirmation via the producer letter that that is what is happening. We also have confirmation that there will be tickets for both the Carnival banner and the Dokkan Fest banner, both summonable and paid tickets that can be acquired starting in the countdown campaign. So, I mean, this is really good, right? Summoning on Frieza takes away from Broly or possibly Gogeta, two of the most powerful units in the game next to Beast Gohan, right? Which is the part 2 banner, right? I mean, most of you are probably saving your stones for this guy right here who shows up in part 2, which means you might be skipping these two until this guy drops. You don't want to be, and if you are willing to skip Broly and Gogeta and wait till part 2 for Beast, then you absolutely could have no problem skipping Frieza to wait for them guys, right? So best to just steer clear of the banner, knowing that these 4 anniversary banners are coming, right? I mean, the Gammas, I don't really think that there's a big priority. They are great, they are fun to use, but I mean, really the priority to walk out of anniversary with for most players is going to be probably Beast Gohan and Gogeta. I think they'll be the heaviest hitters. Actually, I would say Broly is probably the bigger focus next to Beast Gohan, just because there are missions for things like super bosses, and you know, it's always good to have a good, powerful villain team, right? If you rock Beast, you don't need Gogeta. He's just nice to have at that point, right? For superheroes. So, again, any stones you spend on Frieza is less stones you can spend here for Broly, for Gogeta, for Beast, or the Gamma. So I would definitely say, knowing what lies ahead, it's a big old fat no-go. So that is 1 for summon for the unit. The unit is good. But we have a no summon for the banner. The banner is not good. And a no summon for what lies ahead. I cannot in good faith recommend a full summon on this banner, knowing that we are 4 weeks away from the start of Global Dokkan's 9th anniversary and some of the best banners in Dokkan history. I cannot in good faith do it. So for most players, this banner is a big old fat skip. Now, let it be known for you pay-to-play, low-to-play players, there are Dokkan Festival tickets that are available starting once the banner drops. You can purchase these. It'll probably be the same purchase price, right? Your typical, I don't think these are the 30 units, right, guaranteed featured, but who knows, they may do something to try to entice you to summon, and knowing that this is the banner right before anniversary, there is probably step-ups, 110 stones for a guaranteed featured SSR on the 3rd step. So, I mean, just throwing that out there, that is something that could happen. Again, I don't still recommend most people summon. If you're paid to play, low to play, do your discounts, do your tickets, but better just to save everything for that 9th anniversary summon coming in just 4 months. So guys, that is it for our video. That is whether or not you should summon on the banner for the Dokkan Festival AGL First Form Frieza. Again, my overall recommendation is no. This is one of the few full-blown skips I'm going to give throughout my time here, but I did want to make sure that I just kind of gave you the full context for why we're saying no here. So, guys, if you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and in the comments down below, let us know what are you saving for? Broly, Beast, Gogeta, or the Gammas? Let us know what anniversary unit you are most excited for, and hey, if you plan on dropping some stones or some tickets on Frieza, let us know. Be honest about it. Hey, I know I'm gonna do tickets, you know, we gotta at least give it a shot so we can get those videos out for you guys. So, you know, we'll be there. But let us know what your plan is in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.